The very first time you see the lights flash on the car post the drive off. And an abrupt U-turn. Yo, I'm from Atlanta. I ain't turning around to hop to get on 20 when I'm this close.
Right.
We're gonna go over, and we've got to check out, which was, in my opinion, the best interview of Jurors that has been done since the trial ended. So shout out to Mel. We got to give Mel a round of applause over at I'm Not a Lawyer But on YouTube. Y'all go subscribe, like this video, and watch this entire interview. I haven't finished watching it yet, but I've seen clips from the parts of the interview I didn't watch. Absolutely amazing. But this section I did watch, and I wanted to key in on something we just talked about, which was what the jurors thought and what they saw in the Donovan Thomas murder, or in the Donovan Thomas murder video and the Samel Drinks murder video. And it's interesting to see how we mentioned before here on this channel that these jurors, they're just regular people. They think the same as we do. And they think the same as a lot of y'all in the chat and a lot of y'all who have been commenting. So great interview. I'm going to drop a link to this in the description. I'm going to do it right now because I'll forget to do it. So let's get into this. Shout out to my guy, Sean P in the building, CEB gang up in here. Let's go.
As you're going through this trial and paying attention and taking all your notes, what piece of evidence would you say was the most impactful in terms of, oh shoot, this is something to pay attention to, or impactful in the sense of them boys didn't do this? Like which, if, or both, if there's a piece of evidence that like really stuck out to you, or like that the state did a really good job in nailing, or the defense did a really good job in rebutting.
Sorry, my face. You want me to say that? I'm gonna
go. Y'all want me to answer that?
Go ahead, 387.
387. I'll go first. The turning point in having a decision for me when it came to Shannon was bringing in the coroner and saying that the particular shot would prevent movement. Then taking the time out, because the very first time, even though I did not deliberate, the very first time you see the lights flash on the car post the drive off and an abrupt U-turn. Yo, I'm from Atlanta. I ain't turning around to hop to get on 20 when I'm this close.
Right.
To be this close means something popped out. Now you want to bring in the fact of the homeless, maybe or maybe not person that was walking. Most people own something. So to take that into account,
we parked by them. So.
Right, like, you know, to take that into account, I didn't really, that didn't live heavy on me, that person never stopped pace, but that never connected for me. Like that it just never made sense, at least for him. On the other side, the granulated video.
You talking about for
Thomas?
Donovan Thomas,
Yeah, for Donovan Thomas. Like,
oh yeah, I always
in my spirit,
I know exactly what she.
We've been going back and forth with that vehicle in that shot. Like, that never sat right with me. Like, who you brought in as an expert? That's wild.
That was beyond wild.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah. But to hear the conversation, for you to have somebody get up there and say that they sent the video off, to have the opportunity to raise the resolution on it, but you never clarified if the video we watched was a high resolution or not. Plus, you know, I became an expert during this trial, but I ain't never been qualified to be one. 2 cars is not the same thing. You cannot convince me in my spirit that's not the case. How many times
not an infinity? I'm not good with cars, but it definitely don't look like no video to me.
They're talking about the infinity expert.
I was like,
garbage.
Well, what?
1 + 1. The whole trial, I would say in general, 1 + 1 = 11. It never got the 2.
I kept asking them, can I raise my hand and ask them what an infinity is? Because I'm where is it? Am I loud, or y'all just calling me at this point? Y'all calling me slow?
Yeah.
Hello.
Like it was just it didn't.
It didn't click for me.
It definitely didn't click for me neither.
Interesting.
And but I can't ask them because we're not supposed to talk about it. But when we do, I'm gonna ask them, can we go on somebody's YouTube channel or something so y'all can show me what the spending was? I know it was in the parking lot.
And them cars used to be at the Apex. We can't even drive one and by the courthouse real quick. Ain't no way.
I know.
that is supposed to be that
right.
I wouldn't say like for me, when it came to the evidence from the state, the only thing that really kind of turned my to think like, oh, they're innocent was, again, the Drinks murder. That third car that pulled up before the car did the U-turn, like the state completely like disregarded it initially when we saw the video. And I even brought it up to the state too, because we did have an opportunity to talk to the defense and the state attorney. We deliberated, and I was like, I mean, y'all completely acted like we just didn't see it. Like, do y'all think that we're like stupid? Like, I was almost insulted. Like, you guys didn't even bring up that this car even existed. The only thing that he had said was that, oh, that car did a U-turn, and I found that suspicious because they must have said something. But then you completely forget about the car that was right in front of it. Like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, and you think about, imagine this juror feeling offended because they thought that the state thought they were dumb because they didn't see it. Imagine how Shamel Drink's families feels, man. It's like they lied to us. They brought us up here in the courtroom, tried to prop us up and be like, look, jury, look at these people, how sad they are. Find somebody guilty, even though we failed to do our job correctly. Detective Hogan. It's sad, man. It's so sad because their family, I don't know if they're ever going to be able to find that third white car. It's terrible.
Or even piggybacking off of that, you can't search a car by model, but the search that you provided was white.
That's great.
To then find the car, because you knew what that tag was because of somewhere else. So you were able to solidify that, yes, that was the right car. But the initial search that you showed us showed white sedan. You could do color and body. Why couldn't you do color and body of that third vehicle?
Yep.
Like that never made sense.
Yeah, but most of it didn't make sense. Yeah. Most of it didn't make sense to us, so I can't say.
And another thing for me was the nut murder, Donovan Thomas. When they showed Yak being in the store, he was in the parking lot, he was by his car. It was like he was pretty much chilling. But on one of the footages from the camera, it was showing that, Mr. Thomas was by his car, like kind of, politicking with, the people that he was. So I was confused. I'm like, well, if they supposed to have some kind of beef, or if it's supposed to be like this uproar with these two sets of, gangs or people or whatever.
It's crazy.
Why would I be posted?
Why would I just be kind of like lollygagging around in the store and the parking lot and this car pulling up and I'm talking to them and they pulling off and it just, for me, that didn't make sense. And then they was just so adamant about, well, they was at the store for 30, 45 minutes before whatever. So when was they gonna see them? Because they was, how the camera footage was, it was like they pretty much could have saw everybody that was at the store. Yeah. So that didn't register for me. Yeah. So.
Not to mention, I mean, this guy had so many enemies. We forget, and again, rest in peace to Donovan Thomas, but he wasn't necessarily a model citizen. Let's say that. He had stuff going on and things that he was doing. Was a leader of allegedly leader of one of the bigger gangs here in Atlanta. So, I mean, come on. These guys, it seems like they were just wrong place, wrong time. Shannon Stillwell especially. I mean, it's wild that he pulled up to that light right next to Shamel Drinks and then pulled off, and right behind them, someone pulled up and, well, you know the rest.
It was a lot that didn't register. So hence why we came to the conclusion that we did.
I'm curious about Doug Weinstein brought up this watch, this missing watch Jeffrey Williams' watch, and it even was asked about. There was a question asked in Deliberation about it.
Not the watch.
And so I'm curious what you guys took away from the point he was making about the watch, and then 225, if you can talk about what's happening that made the question come out about the watch, made it be asked.
Mm-hmm. Well, y'all can talk about the watch in first. Y'all can go ahead.
I mean, I think Weinstein shed light to the fact that the state or the powers that may be are not as detail oriented as they try to convey. Because if you actually took on all the different things, or you touched as many things, that wasn't in detail. Mm-hmm. Like, you can detail how many pounds of weed you picked up, the money counter, the guns, the caliber, the serial number, but I would think juror would be equally as important since you touched it. $500,000 watch. I'm never gonna forget that because Jesus. But
said it a few times.
But I feel like it just poked holes for inconsistency of how they retain information, or how things are kind of like documented or put up or things like that.
Not to mention, how many times did Viverito say, "Oh, reports? We don't really do reports." I mean, when it comes to procedure for processing items, I mean, sometimes we take expensive items, sometimes we don't. Y'all think that's a coincidence that they don't have a procedure for what evidence they're going to take according to Viverito? I mean, come on. It just gives them an opportunity to let things like a $500,000 watch slip through the cracks.
Weinstein had a very good habit of that, though, like identifying inconsistencies and it not having to take a lot. The few questions that he brought up or he brings up, he might show like, hey, there's a gap here. Did anybody catch that? It's very clear and concise. That's why he was on my list.
He always took one for the team. Like, okay, if they throw me out, at least I got it in there. They heard me.
Yeah.
He did.
There was a couple times where she didn't let it fly, but he had already said it. And he just like, more of the questions.
Sit down.
You're so right. He would.
Right. I pretty much just piggyback off what 387 said and 225. That was, how could you lose that? And then you was so adamant about, well, we just put it back on the shelf. You a damn lie. You ain't put that back on that shelf. I ain't saying you took it neither, but it gone. Where is that?
Keep asking about it, so it must not be there. We saw them go through all of the jury, and we didn't even know what that was. Like, he was pulling them out, and he was asking about specific stuff.
I wanted to say, you could just give it to me. Why would you stop this man jury on me? Why?
You talking about stones?
This is not this Apple Watch, baby.
Right.
Those are diamonds. Yeah, it's like they didn't have a care in the world. They wanted who they wanted.
Is that how you felt? You felt like that? I mean, that's what the defense argued, and so to hear you feel like, that's essentially what happened. That's what you believe too.
They wanted who they wanted. Nobody else really cared. I think this whole case had something to do with Thug. That's who they wanted.
Yeah,
the little fishes. To them, okay. I mean, come on, y'all. I got you, but since collateral damage, since when I got you, and I know you don't want to go to jail, so I'm gonna get you in this room, and I'm gonna have you say anything to try to make yourself free or set you free. I honestly feel like Thug didn't really have too much to do with a lot of things that were thrown his way. I do believe that he did try to save those young guys' lives, and whatever they did or whatever they do, it still was at their discretion. It wasn't like, I felt like it wasn't like, he said, well, you got to do this for you to. No, I really think that he really tried to show them a different side.
Yeah, these are the jurors.
Yeah.
And just to answer about the watch for the deliberation side, that was a question on one of the jurors. They thought that Weinstein had said my client's watch, and I was like, We didn't say he didn't say my clients watched. He didn't say that.
Yeah,
I was kind of the
attention.
one like strong arming everybody, like, come on, get it together. Let's get these facts, because my 508 and my 387 wasn't in there with me, and I wasn't expecting it. No, to kind of get them together, get everybody in line. But there was one person that was like, well, if he said my clients watched, then he must have been in the house, and if he was in the house, then give them the charges because or whatever. So we asked for clarification, even though like it was literally one juror and 11 jurors were like, no, he didn't say that. But we kind of made an agreement that if anybody had any questions that they needed clarity on and they wanted to ask, like that we will all like just agree to have it explained, even though we all knew the answer.
Juror questions send the public in a frenzy, okay, right? So we're like, what are they thinking? What does this matter? And so one of the theories was they were trying to get at if he said it was his client's watch, then that means that Diamante was staying at Thug's house, and so those charges he could catch, and that's essentially that's
exactly what it was.
Dang, so that's a good thing that they clarified that, because that could have been the difference between Yak Gotti getting some of those gun charges and drug charges. I mean, even though he was chilling outside and it was most likely that he was in the house, they didn't have any evidence that he was there. If Doug had said my client's watch, that would have been crazy. I wonder if he's heard this part of it, because I know Doug said he was stressing about them listening to the lyrics on Phil Holloway's channel. And he was like, man, I hope that they're not considering the lyrics and not taking the lyrics to account. But this watch deal, it sounds like it was a bigger deal to the jurors than even maybe Doug Weinstein knew.
So you guys were right.
No, they were paying attention, Sean, for sure.
Tell us, okay, this for you, 225. When you go into deliberate, well, first off, let's go to the alternates first. You find out you're not gonna be deliberating. Are you pissed off? How do you feel?
A little bit. Pissed because I'm 367 days past go. And I feel like I should have had my opportunity to have whatever fight I wanted to have.
No, she manifested that because she had been saying from the beginning. She always joked that she was gonna like when y'all deliberate.
Yeah, I mean, but I think also another piece of me just didn't have that kind of energy to want to have to kind of like deliver, only because of understanding the dynamics of the room. Like we couldn't agree on lunch.
We could,
we couldn't agree on what kind of coffee we liked to bring into the deliberation room. Like we don't know if we want to celebrate everybody's birthday as a group or individual shots. So if like we're arguing about water, coffee, and lunch.
Yeah, correct.
I ain't got the patience to drag people. So because it would directly affect somebody else's livelihood, regardless of whatever the decision is.
Yeah,
a family's going to be upset if they don't find justice.
Right.
The person who didn't do it and end up behind jail and behind bars is going to feel some type of way because I genuinely didn't do it. It was no way that you was going to be able to appease everybody.
Correct.
To put me in a predicament where not only I have to have an opinion, protect my opinion, and then I got to argue with people who can't pick coffee.
He was arguing the whole year with them same people. You didn't mind arguing with them a little bit more.
Yeah.
Man, when you get to these situations with people you don't know, and you have to have essentially this massive group project. Again, y'all know I've served on a grand jury here in Fulton County. It is not fun. I mean, you start calling people names, telling people to shut up, saying that's a dumb question. Were you paying attention? I mean, it can get pretty spicy. I'm not gonna lie.
Arguing with people over coffee and just being a jackass is one thing.
We definitely the black sheep of the group.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I knew I was
the
not
three
missing.
amigos. They did not. They wasn't fooling with us.
I know that without a shadow of doubt, I was not missing that deliberation.
I was not missing.
Said, "Oh, we don't have 387 and 508. This will be easy." I said, "Hold up now, because we still got 225, and they still here in spirit, and I got my sisters back. It ain't going down this easy, y'all.
That is easy.
I had y'all back." I let it be known too.
For me, it was like, damn,
right.
I really wanted to be in there because what I assumed was it was a lot of people in there that really didn't understand. And it was more so they wasn't going off the evidence. That was going off of their personal opinions.
And
I just kept kind of telling people like, this is nothing personal. You can't go off your feelings. You have to go what was presented to us. And if it was presented to us, then it is what it is. But if it wasn't presented to us, that's not what it is. So I just need for y'all to kind of keep that in mind, because at the end of the day, if we go in and prosecute these people for something that wasn't presented to us, then I think that's kind of like fucked up. Excuse me for, telling what it is, just messed up or whatever. So,
or seeing the reaction to understanding what not guilty is with no doubts.
Right.
Like to see how people receive that part of the puzzle is just like, oh hell no. We're gonna keep lifted in prayer because this is good.
And me and 387, we was like, man, we left 227 by ourselves. 225 by herself.
Yeah, but I'm wrong.
I was like, she got down.
They did an amazing job. And shout out to Mel again for this interview. The best juror interview that's been done so far. It'll be cool to hear from Juror 56, and I haven't seen his full interview yet, but this was the best one. She got 3 jurors in there. She got Mr. Kokomo in there, the first and only interview that he's done. So excellent work by her. I dropped the link in the description. If you're watching this on the replay, the link will be in the pinned comment and will also be in the description of this video too. Y'all go over there and support I'm Not a Lawyer, but shout out to Mel, doing great work.